Okay, as the target audience are, thank you, Nagarajan, first of all, for the invite, and ma'am, thank you for making us part of this wonderful panel and this show. We are deeply indebted for the opportunity. And Nagarajan, because the target population is, if I understand it right, students and budding entrepreneurs. So if we start speaking about our own bureaucratic experience, it won't really sync with them. So I would try and see how, try and speak about things, how a bureaucrat himself has to work on entrepreneurship mode in wherever places he's posted, and how he should have entrepreneurial spirits in himself, and also my own personal experience in building an entrepreneurship ecosystem in the state. So first of all, as I said, my personal experiences have been always been a startup guy, because I've always been posted in new districts. So new districts offers equally challenging and exciting opportunities like that of a new company offers, because you're going to start everything from scratch. You're going to build your collector's office, recruit people, buy everything from scratch. So it's absolutely like a startup experience. So I would want to share only one experience from among the many experiences. When I joined the district called Sukma was the remotest, highly Naxal affected district, where we lived amidst the Naxals. In a small area carved for ourselves, where it's kind of a safe zone, the headquarters, which is little Naxalism free, but the rest of it was completely affected by Naxalism. So the first thing which you realized, as ma'am spoke about disruptive thinking, the first disruptive thinking the whole team brought across was that the district will have to remain connected to the headquarters, because most of the times out of sight is out of mind. We should remain in their sight by being connected 24/7. So internet connectivity came out as the first important disruption which we had to effect in that place. And we found out that there was no NIC, so we had to actually lay OFC cables ourselves. So we inevitably used NRGS funds to dig and lay the cables itself. And most of the work was actually jugaad. I mean, in the Indian sense, it can be called as jugaad, but we tried to justify it officially. And in fact, the biggest innovation came in terms of bringing a camera. The normal NIC camera, the VC camera, is a Polycom one, which is imported from Germany and which costs around 4 lakh plus. So we were forced to buy a second-hand camera and justify that, because we had to quickly launch in a month, quickly launch the district in a month. So when the chief minister came to the district, he was surprised to see that in 1 month's time, a district which is, is absolutely cut off in every sense, physically, geographically, had a VC facility so that it could remain connected to the headquarters 24/7. So that was a surprising first disruption which we put in place, which then let us be in the minds of people, and slowly, it helped us churn a lot of things basically. So, I mean, there are a number of things to talk about such startup districts, but the whole idea is that civil servants will have to be entrepreneurial, should have a startup attitude whenever they get into places, and should have a disruptive attitude to looking at existing processes and revisit everything from this perspective of a citizen, to see how much of pain points can we reduce. And in doing that, can we just do a lot of business process re-engineering? And my most favorite example is that of Redbus. In 2005, Mr. Fanindra from BITS Pilani, he had to travel on Diwali from Bangalore to Hyderabad. He was out trying to get bus tickets, and he could not get one. He was duped by a broker, a middleman, who actually sold him tickets at a very high rate, promising of an air-conditioned bus, better seats and everything. But finally could get him only a very bad seat, a very bad location in the bus, and a very bad bus itself. So this made him think, and today Redbus is a billion-dollar enterprise, because where people saw frustration, and entrepreneurs saw hope. Where people saw a problem, and entrepreneurs saw a solution, and also a solution that can actually make life easy for the citizenry, as well as create a business opportunity for oneself. So this gentleman went on. He actually brought his own friends from BITS to join him. 3 people joined together, and then they put this solution. They built an operating system for bus tickets. We had only air tickets and train tickets online at that point of time, 2006. They put in a separate solution to try to integrate all the bus operators into one one platform. And today, if you look at the operational ease, this is actually the ease of doing, I mean, ease of living, which Redbus has offered to millions of customers who have buses as the cheapest, mode of transport for themselves. It's such a phenomenal impact which he has made in the lives of people, and in doing so, the business opportunity which you could actually tamper is like a high volume, low margin business, and where he could not, he could not put this idea down because he didn't think that the poor people cannot afford technology, or that technology adoption by the illiterate people might not happen. So he put every challenge, he made every challenge into an opportunity. And today, even as we see COVID, becoming a big disruption in our lives today, entrepreneurs should start looking at COVID also as a great opportunity, because the more and more physical transactions are stopping, and the more and more adoption towards technology is happening, it offers a lot of business opportunity for everyone. So, I would only say that an entrepreneur should be someone who should have an eye for details in any problem which he comes across. So, I mean, as we have college students, listening to this the show, my request to them would be that your life would take you after 4 or 5 years to an ecosystem wherein you are limited to yourself, your families, and everything. This is an age, this is the time where you get to interact with everyone, where you travel in cycles and buses and trains and everywhere, where you get to see the world. So wherever you see a problem, see an opportunity. Wherever others see despair, start seeing potential. Start having an imagination, a bigger imagination for finding solutions to everyday problems of the common man, and that might probably, help you, go out and build something anew. And with all the humility to see the world as it is, also have the audacity to imagine the world as it should be. How do you think the world should be for you? And you should actually have an ambition to learn at the edge, the wisdom to admit failure, the courage to start again, patience, kindness, resilience, grit, reject complacency, and challenge corruption, challenge bureaucracy. In short, do what's right and not what's easy. That's all I have to say. Thank you for the opportunity.
I would like to now request Alex. Yeah. So, what are your comments on what could be some low-hanging fruits that we can try out? This is the one of a kind of panel, because first time only officers are talking about startup and innovation. No venture capital guy. In fact, not even a startup guy or any policy guy. Also, only the doers who are still, trying to figure out what could be the best way to do things. So what are some of the things we could try out in strengthening the ecosystem, especially in terms of collaboration and all that? Because given the challenge of your location and all that, we would like to have some practical inputs on that.
Yeah, I would also, in the course of answering this question, I would also love to share some experience which we had in Chhattisgarh. I would go back to what Naveen said. It all starts with a conversation. Conversation with the youngsters, and as Nandini said, to have it part of the curriculum, to have it, to be imbibed into a culture itself is something very important. But as we start, where do we start? We start with the conversation. So there are like bodies like Startup Saturdays, with which we started in Chhattisgarh. So nobody could imagine that in a small city like Raipur with a 10-15 lakh population, with the overall 50 engineering colleges in the whole state and a 2.5 crore population state, could jump into the startup ecosystem and do something. So we had hope. So we started Startup Saturdays for 1 year. In the basement of our office, we gave space for the kids to come and start talking to each other. And here is where the culture part comes in, where we don't speak about competition much, but we speak about collaboration, where we speak about sharing, where we have an ecosystem wherein we are not afraid of each other, that our ideas would be gone by sharing it, where we only believe that the ideas will get strengthened. So from the conversation, then we move on to creating an ecosystem itself, to create a hub for it. Like Nagarajan spoke about a startup city itself. Kerala had a startup village created long back. In fact, they are one of the forerunners, and they've been doing things very successfully till now. And a lot of startups have come from Kerala. So the best thing we should do is learn from each other. Let's not reinvent the wheel. Like this fund of funds. Like we had a leap of faith revolving fund. of around 50 lakh rupees interest-free seed money for 3 years. That was a wonderful fund for the starters because they could just grasp on at least 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs to start it, and then slowly build on their capital and do things. And what we tried to do differently here in our state was not to be dependent upon venture capitalists and government funds, but to, from the very beginning, get the high net worth individuals into the ecosystem. And wherever there is a discussion where we could moderate, because there are always, big whales and big fishes, trying to swallow the small fish. Where we, as a government, try to moderate high net worth individuals' investment to be channelized into the startup ecosystem from the very beginning. So that way, we create a local set of people who can actually become our own venture capitalists, our own angel investors, and everything. So, to share the success story of Chhattisgarh, we had a dream and we did it audaciously in 1 year span. We had, in fact, one more aspect of it. We put the 30,000 square feet co-working space in a mall. We didn't choose any academic center. We didn't go for it. We said, let's have it in a place where there is enough footfall, where there are enough eyeballs. So we put it right in a mall, and made the kids there come around and see it, and what it is basically. So from there, in 1 year span, we could have 100 startups and a turnover of more than 20-30 crores from that startup itself. We have few very successful startups to our kitty now, called as Jim Books, who's been recently selected by Y Combinator, and another very interesting startup called I'm forgetting the name. There's something called Netafim, an Israeli company, which supplies drip irrigation systems. They have brought down the cost of Netafim to 1/4 of it. At a 5 lakh cost, you get a complete automated solution for drip irrigation here. That's a company that's coming from Bastar. Farmers who are also engineers could look at their problem and bring these solutions basically. So and another guy called Phenology, who could do a turnover of 1 crore in a year itself. So very, very interesting things came up, and all of it started actually with a conversation, and then providing them the ecosystem which they needed with a lot of government support, like your Leap of Faith Revolving Fund, and a lot of freedom basically. The first thing we did was to cut down bureaucracy from that place, to make it as a separate society, to put a separate CEO, and give him all the authority to play around with the funds which has been given to him with little measures of accountability. We tend to control everything in government, which we should clearly forego, so that this becomes a separate ecosystem as well and start sustaining itself and run on its own. That should be the motto. That's all from my side.